And whenever I go out, I ride down this path, which is one of the better parts of the path. And I'll show you the tunnel. So we've come right round this path. Boy, I got stuck on this the other day. It was wet from the typhoon, or prior to the typhoon, and I just couldn't get going. As I say, this is the better part. And we go into what I call the tunnel. You can see by that grass there, that's where I laid the bike down last. And it goes in here. As I say, I don't know how the light goes for this because it can't be very great. So, but you can see that there's a deep groove. This is wide enough for the carabao. Carabao walks in that groove and makes it deeper and deeper every time, right? And what they do is they drag a sled, which I have shown on my Facebook page. You can see why I would call this the tunnel. When you're riding on a bike, this is a hell of a challenge. Only it's more of a challenge when you're coming back up. And I had this improved when I came, but it deteriorates very quickly. And when you get to the bottom here, right at the bottom is a creek. Now, we haven't had rain for a couple of days, so this creek is really fine. But over there are rice fields, which I'll show you in a moment. When it rains heavily, the rice fields drain off into this and it becomes a raging torrent of water. And then it goes down, and it goes down into that. So there's nowhere to go if you lay the bike down to the right, which is what I did when I was down in that pool. Fortunately, the bike didn't follow me, so I didn't suffer any injury. Then you've got another challenging part here. And this goes up. This is all rock and they're loose. And boy, coming up onto this is an exciting ride. Beth usually walks this, and she walks it up to that tree. As you can see, it doesn't matter how many times you clear it, it develops those grooves. And once they're in, makes life very difficult. But here you can see, that's back to our hilltop. All of that vegetation was planted by Beth's family. These are their rice fields. All these rice fields were made by her father and I'm guessing his older sons, and they dug these out by hand. When I first came here, the father went mining for gold, which there are some gold deposits that can be found in some of the hills a little way off. Very little, but he managed to scratch together enough money from the gold to be able to buy a carabao, and then life became that much easier. But you can see there's a small house there. Believe it or not, you can see that house is maybe 10 by 10, if that. And one of the families of my brother-in-law, Tata, is going to come and they're going to rebuild that house, just put a roof on it and walls, and a family of 4 are going to live there. Not my choice. So then this is the ride. It's narrow. It's narrow, and what that means for a very recently novice rider, and certainly even now not an experienced rider, that narrow path, if you go off to the left, you are in trouble. So far I haven't done that, and I continue to hope that I won't. So I'm walking back home now from taking you on that little sightseeing tour, and this is this is that track that takes me down to the creek, which, when that's really heavily swollen, all of this is water, and you can't see what rocks have been moved or not. I don't know how good your riding is on a motorcycle, but mine isn't so great that I don't look at this with some trepidation. Even walking across, I'm careful. And then that's the sight that greets me. Just coming across the tree, there's that damn tree there which has got my name on it sometimes, I think. And then we go up this steep incline into the tunnel. This is no picnic. And this is every time I want to do anything. When I get materials for the house, it's delivered by a tricycle, and the tricycle driver knows the place now, and he delivers it to the end of the road. And then from the end of the road, we wait for him, and we arrange with my brother-in-law, Manorado, to bring his carabao and his sled. He then... This is the road that we've just been building and putting in, that you can see. It's nothing grand, but it was a big project for us. As you pan up there on the top, you'll see the hill that we live in. We live in the hills. It's very beautiful up here. Not for everybody, but certainly I'm very happy. So now we're going to go down. Go down our road, and you'll see the bridge that we just are in the process of building right now. We've still got tons of material here that we won't get to use, and that's our bridge. It's a big project because it was all done by hand. Stop here and show you a little, right? We still have all of the supports up, holding the bridge up, but of course it's cured long ago now. It's been up there for, I think, 3 or 4 or 5 days, and so we'll give it another few days, and then we'll take down all of the supports that are underneath. All of this now, the bridge is there. It might seem like a grand thing to have in such an isolated spot, but all of the rice fields which you've just seen, and which you can have a look at now, all of those rice fields, and they stretch out way out of sight, and they're all tiered, just like the rice fields, the rice terraces in China. It's the same design. Every rice field drains down into the next, so that they all get irrigated, right? And they all drain down in very heavy torrential rain right into this creek, which is where our bridge comes in. So now we're going to go down and take a ride over our bridge. As you can see, we still have a ton of work left over to do. All of this work was done completely by hand with picks and shovels. Tons and tons of earth were moved. All of this concrete was mixed by hand with a shovel, getting water from the creek, which some say is not such a great idea. But this is what used to be called the tunnel. We're in four-wheel drive now, just to get up this, and of course you can see deep ruts that are in this as a road, and that's where the rain drains off and down, like once again into the creek. All of this was cut by hand by my brother-in-law, Manorado, and
his carabao, did the first initial cuts, and all of this was still going up onto our top of our hill. Now that can be an adventure when you're on the motorcycle. We have a dirt bike, which is probably the best thing that you can have for this kind of thing. Going up. This is the house that my wife was born. She was born in this house.